Boy, can I help you?
Listen up. I'm bringing you the best content to ever exist in the door-to-door industry, from sales, leadership, recruiting, and personal development.
Well, why would I need that?
Because never before have we been able to collaborate with the top experts in their industries, sharing their secrets and techniques on what makes them the best.
Wait, who are you?
I'm your host, Sam Taggart, creator of the DDD Experts and DDD Con. Is there a place we can sit down?
Well, come on in.
As the leading distributor of structural pest control, Univar provides training, services, and an arsenal of products to help you grow. Our 80 years of experience and industry-leading resource, pestweb.com, provide unmatched opportunities for your company to succeed. Learn more at pestweb.com or call 1-800-888-4897.
Hey, so my name's Sam Taggart. Welcome to the DDD podcast, and I'm here with Andy Bindea. Bindea. Do you put it on the I or the D? Just play. Bindea, Andy Bindea. And he is the founder of Sigora Solar, and they have now started a Sigora Haiti and Zambia. So they have multiple international solar companies, which is a really unique topic we'll be discussing today. He literally is from Romania, traveled and immigrated here to America in 2006, and literally all he had is a backpack. So we're going to dive into his story because I think it's one of the most fascinating serial entrepreneur stories. Now he runs over a multi-million-dollar company, and it's really cool for me to find people that literally bootstrapped from nothing and had all the odds against them, being not from a family of wealth, not from even knowing a soul here, and building something really impactful. And has brought energy to over how many people now in Haiti?
About 20,000 of them.
Oh, only 20,000 people in Haiti that never even saw light in their homes before. Literally has brought the light to homes all over the world. And it's super fun to find people that are really making great money, but also making a huge impact and making a difference in our world. So if you're watching this and you're in solar, this is a really fascinating thing. So I'd for sure listen to this. And then like this if you're all about solar or Haiti and saving the planet. So super excited to have you on the show, Andy. So thanks for taking your time out of your busy day. I know it's probably busy and
it's already evening, so it's good. It's calm and quiet.
And quiet. And we're just hungry, waiting for dinner after this, right? So Andy, tell us a little bit about how you got. First off, like what inspired you to come to America? Let's just start back at this whole transition of like, I'm living in Romania and America sounds cool. Was it just like watching an American movie or something? Like,
No.
I'm curious how that whole started.
No, it actually was a little easier than that. I had a failed attempt at a recycling company. And after about 9 grueling months of trying to raise capital for equipment, I decided that, hey, this is not really going in the right direction. Not a lot of traction here. So I packed all my stuff in a backpack and went to Alaska. Now, look, at the end of the day, you come to America and, of course, things are not what they seem to be. Especially if you go up to Alaska.
Alaska, yeah.
Alaska is a little bit different.
You're like, where are the people?
Lower 48. Yeah, we're more deer than people.
Yeah.
So, look, it's been an absolutely amazing journey coming here, and I've gone through the crazy jobs, washing toilets, being a cable guy, being a tree climber. Luckily, I had some really, really amazing people in my life that supported me and helped me throughout this journey. And eventually, I was able to start this solar energy company from the leftovers of a community college scholarship here in Charlottesville, Virginia.
Really?
Piedmont, Virginia Community College.
Really?
Yeah. Some people, drop out of Harvard and Stanford. I dropped out of community college.
So you took your scholarship money.
Yeah.
And you were a college student essentially, and you said, okay, I'm going to go to college and study. You were studying
engineering.
Yeah. Okay. And you're like, screw this. I've got some extra capital. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. Let's try something new. Or
no,
yeah, I was curious how that.
When people tell the stories of how things happen, they tend to mystify things. No, things do not happen that clean.
Yeah, I was curious.
Everything is a stumble. Everything is just you do this and it hopes it has the right impact and it has the right outcome. No, it was as simple as I had an opportunity to pick up a solar contract. I was very good with technical projects, and I picked up the contract, and I did good with it. I didn't know anything about solar whatsoever, then I picked up another contract, and then another contract after that, and it was as simple as, hey, I had $6,300 in the scholarship, and about 3 were left after I bought all the books and everything else I needed for that semester, and I bought a white Honda and a 24-foot ladder, and the rest is history. We started hiring people and treated our customers right and provided them value, and didn't care about anything else, to be real honest.
So it's kind of just building the foundation off of good customer service and getting the job done right, and then it's grown to this.
Don't fall off the roof. Treat the customer right and collect the last paycheck. Very important.
That sounds like it hit a soft spot. Are there a few times that you went through and didn't get paid like you were supposed to?
Look, I told you yesterday, and as I shared with the sales team, in the beginning, it's like, asking somebody for money was very uncomfortable. It was like I started shaking every time I needed to ask a customer to pay us for the work that we actually performed. It wasn't until one of my mentors explained to me that, hey, Andy, you are providing value to your customers, and this is the way they are paying for that value. It's a normal exchange, and you have done your job, now they have to do theirs. But for several years after we started in 2011, almost 7 years ago now, I've had issues with just asking customers for money. And, a lot of the times customer, they don't want to pay until this happens and try to delay things. And some of them unreasonable. And it wasn't until 2-3 years into the business that I got really, really comfortable with asking for money. And it was because, we have a team that we have to
provide for. Yeah.
And they have to provide for their families. And this is not just a fly-by operation. This is a real business. Right now, there's almost 70 full-time people that work here, another 60, 70 subcontractors. These people depend on a paycheck.
Yeah.
And to be able to provide those paychecks and, making sure they actually clear the bank, we need money in the bank account. So it became part of business, but it was very, very uncomfortable in the beginning. Very, very uncomfortable.
What are some of the other roadblocks that you maybe ran into as you've kind of built your business, scaled it, grown? What are some other challenges that you kind of encountered that were pivotal in your journey?
I think look, one of the really, really big elements I learned, and of course, you're kind enough to have me on your podcast here, but I'm by no means an expert in anything whatsoever. I'm still learning, and I hope to continue to be learning for the rest of my life. I've learned a lot of lessons, and a lot of them in a very, very painful and costly manner. And I think one of the biggest and most painful and most costly lessons I've learned has to do with people and leadership earned versus assumed, so to speak. Mm-hmm. This difference between a boss and a leader, and this difference between just ordering somebody to do something versus knowing in the back of your head that people will not do something they don't want to do, but rather having to convince them that they want to do a certain task, or you cannot shove your vision down people's throats.
Yeah,
they have to buy into it, and it's very, very important that they do.
And I think that's one of the biggest issues we deal with in this industry is like, we have our vision, and then we're trying to convince all of our other people to go work and to get on the doors and to go recruit and to go do what they're supposed to. Just the daily simple activity that in our brains, it's like, why wouldn't you just do this and you'll make more money? Like, and for some reason, it seems to be one of the most difficult things to help inspire our people to act. And so for you, what are some of the things that you maybe have learned through trial and error to help become the leader versus the boss?
Well, look, and there has been a lot of trial and error, and it's very important for me to mention that Sigora Solar in Virginia, I don't run this company anymore. We have an incredibly competent CEO, Logan Landry, that runs the company, and he is the leader of the management team. We have a chief operating officer. We have an amazing leadership team here, and we've under his leadership, we were able to restructure the entire organization and into something that's a much more scalable organization, and then put procedures around these thoughts and ideas. But it's very important to mention that, hey, what starts as a thought and an idea can become actually a procedure. So to go back to lessons learned on leadership is a couple of things. In sales is clearly the backbone of the growth vehicle, and I underestimated for a very long time how mentally challenging the job of a sales individual is, and how taxing on an emotional level it is. And I thought that when I was running the entire sales team of the company of one, and then hired more salespeople and so on and so forth, I did all the sales myself. And I thought it was perhaps a deficiency I had, that you get nervous. You get nervous before asking for a customer to sign a contract, before putting a paper in front of them, and so on and so forth. I thought it was a problem with me, and it was only later on that I realized that, hey, hold on, everybody is struggling with the mental part, the failure.
This is reconnecting right now. You guys can keep going.
Oh, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
We got the audio, just keep going.
So it was only until later on that I fully understood that this is part of the job, and it's normal, and it should be addressed. And it should be addressed in a structured and very organized manner. And it begins with the simplest of things, is talking to your team about your challenges when you started out, explaining to people that, hey, if it feels that a failure will bring you down entirely, don't feel that way, because it's normal. It's not that you fail or not, it's what you do after you fail.
And I think a lot of people as leaders, they almost try to mask some of the problems and challenges and feelings that they actually sometimes have to pull out of this closet of, like, oh, when I first got into sales, like I had those same things, you know what I mean? Like I went through those same hardships, the same challenges, and being vulnerable first with your team, in my opinion, it helps open up and show them like your true authenticity of a leader. And I think that's one of the key principles of leadership. And from what I'm picking up, it's just being able to kind of guide your people by being real and just raw with them, and speaking to some of the difficult aspects of this job.
Yeah, I think, look, at the end of the day, authenticity is something that we really crave in our society today. Everything tends to be very manicured and doctored, and we really crave authenticity. So aside from the society at large aspect of authenticity, in a company, especially smaller companies, it's it's critical to motivate and educate younger managers. It's critical to motivate and educate sales staff at the end of the day, because if you can't get past the mental block of being rejected, you're not gonna make it. So a prospect that otherwise could turn into an amazing saleswoman or salesman, you lose them because they just hit this wall. And the easiest way for them to get past this wall is to be able to bond with somebody that has managed to get on the other side.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. And I think the pitfall that a lot of leaders fall into is simply they fear the bond. And I think a lot of it has to do with, we were talking about this earlier, the insecurity of, well, if I open up too much, then maybe they won't look at me as a leader. Or if I try to connect or try to bond, then I like almost become vulnerable to attack almost. Like it's almost like everybody's against me as the leader. And that's kind of the next thing that we want to talk about, was kind of this lonely place it feels as a leader. And that's probably one of the reasons we have this insecurity to us, is it's a lonely place. So like speak to that. I know you mentioned like how lonely sometimes leadership can be, and I think a lot of people underestimate the like what entrepreneurs and what owners have to go through. You know what I mean?
It's I think the things throughout this amazing journey in the past 7 years with Sigora Solar until 2014, and then Sigora International, and now Sigora Haiti, and now Sigora Zambia, where it just becomes very, very clear throughout my interactions with my team, throughout my interactions with fellow entrepreneurs, throughout everything that I do, is that hey, people want to be comfortable. They want to feel comfortable, and a leader that just you can't broadcast your problems. You can't. You have to internalize and hide them, and put a smile on your face and get a positive attitude. And that is incredibly difficult to do when you're running out of money, when some of your staff is not performing, when things just don't go the way you want them to go. Is just incredibly difficult to just put a smile on your face and keep chugging along. And the majority of people that I have talked to, it's every single entrepreneur has sleepless nights. Every single woman and man that I've talked to that have started businesses or are passionately and in an engaged manner running businesses have sleepless nights where they clench their fists and cry in anger. And
it's true. I mean, and I think a lot of people never see that. They did that, like, and if you're listening to this or watching this, I think you should probably show some appreciation and some compassion for whatever leader leads you, because I think somebody that has never been in a leadership role or an entrepreneur or in that position, I think they fail to recognize, like, they lose sleep over not being able to pay you, not being able to see you succeed. Those just moments where it's like, I just want to like punch a wall.
And look, I mean, the reality is that it's very important to delineate the difference here between bosses and leaders. Bosses don't lose sleep. Leaders do. Bosses go home at 6 o'clock and all is left behind, and the problems of the workday are left at work. And leaders, they stress about, am I going to make payroll? They stress about, hey, is that investment going to come through? Hey, am I going to be able to hire this top performer that I really want on my team? Am I gonna lose a couple of people because I lost this project? And it's like, and it's not just entrepreneurs. It's also every single leader at every single level of management that is just involved in the business. They lose sleep over it and they get stressed, and the internal part of the stress is just relentless and just keeps going and going and going and going, because there's always something to stress and worry about.
Yeah, I think honestly, like a leader, the difference between a boss and a leader, in my opinion, is if a boss was fired or a boss quit or a boss left, it's very easily replaced. It's like a position filled. A leader, it's like if they didn't show up and they didn't perform and they were to move or go, that whole organization would crumble, or that branch or that position crumbles, because it's kind of like there's a difference between just filling a position and actually creating a movement, creating waves, I guess, throughout your company. And I think so many people, a lot of people are prepping for the summer, the high season. A lot of people are trying to build teams and recruit. And I think they fail to ask, like, am I really doing this to be the boss and just feel this power of I can crack the whip? Or am I doing this to really lead and provide extreme value for my people that I'm actually leading?
And I think it's very important that people, before they look on the outside, they look on the inside.
100%.
What are my motivations for doing this? Am I power hungry? Do I actually want to make a meaningful impact? Am I actually just going after money? Why do I do what I do? But not just ask yourself the question, why do I do what I do? Well, because it matters and blah, 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 blah. No. Why? What basic elemental human emotion does this particular activity instill in you and arouse in you that allows you to continue to move forward? And also, I think it's very important. And again, trial and error, and you learn to care more. And earlier today, you talked about empathy. I mean, it's very difficult to be empathetic when things are not going well. When things are going well and everything is smooth, everything is easy. Relationships with employees, relationships with customers, relationship with investors, everything is easy when things are going good.
Yep.
When things are going bad, when you have to cut 30% of your staff, like we did in 2016 here at Sigora Solar, when you have to cut people's pay, when you have to furlough people, when things are going bad, that's when the empathy and the understanding and hey, we have to figure out a solution that's good for everybody comes in. And I think the lessons that I learned from the hardships are, of course, more painful and more costly, but they're a whole lot more meaningful.
Yeah. Well, this has been awesome. I want to kind of shift gears off the leadership topic, and I want to dive into some more storytelling, because I feel like you have a lot of good stories in you. We're going to take a quick pause real quick. All right. So a couple of the questions that I have, that I just feel like you have a lot of crazy stories from running Sigora Haiti that, you shared kind of in January, of just, crazy employee stories, trucks falling off, you know what I mean? Like, you just have all these random things that have happened that you're just like, man, shit happens. Like, probably moments, right?
Yeah.
Where it's kind of like, wait, what just happened? Like, I feel like you have a lot of those, dealing with international employees, dealing with creating new markets for random people, and, bringing electricity to people that have never really lived with electricity. That's got to be kind of a cool thing. But kind of tell us a couple of things that really were, I'm gonna ask specific. So, like, what's been the craziest story running a business that you were just like, nobody would believe actually happened?
I don't have any stories that nobody would believe, but at the same time, my threshold is probably a little bit skewed at this point. But look, I mean, on the positive side, in 2014 we decided to start this electrification effort for Haiti, which is a country in the Caribbean that has about 10% of its population electrified, and nobody in the country has power 24/7. And you want to hear something that's really crazy and unbelievable, is like there's 1.3 billion people around the world that do not have power 24/7. Just imagine your life without power. Like imagine like if like we lost power here in Virginia for 4 days because of the nor'eastern, and everybody freaked out. But there's 1.3 billion people that have never had power and just go about their lives without power and access to information and so on and so forth. So that's really, really, really crazy. So we really wanted to do something about it, and we realized that, hey, it has to be an economically sustainable initiative. So what we did basically is we started Haiti's first private utility company. And it's crazy, particularly because we're a solar company in Virginia. It's crazy because a lot of reasons. It's first off, we're a startup utility company, which startup and utility company
Just don't seem to make
just don't mix very well. And the second, it started by a guy that ran a solar energy business, which there's always this perceived epic battle between solar companies and utility companies.
Always.
I think that's very, very interesting. It's like we just this perceived hate between all of us. At the end of the day, it was like nobody really cares, to be real honest. They're just businesses that are no longer, startups. So adapting their business model is very, very difficult.
100%.
So, and I can understand a few things from the perspective of a utility company, and it's like, and some of my friends tell me, Andy, you guys are not a utility company. Really? Well, we have bucket trucks, we have the power grid, we have exclusive 25-year concessions, and we don't yet allow net metering. I think that makes us a utility company.
Yeah.
So
It's like, what is a utility? Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So what was it like bringing power to that many people? Like, what were some of the reactions from people?
I think it was first and foremost, there was a very big difference between what I personally perceived that journey to look like, particularly on how long it's gonna take and how much it's gonna cost. In short, I thought my pilot project was gonna be done in 3 months, and here I am 4 years later, and I'm still missing one wind turbine.
Really?
Yeah. However, it's been an absolutely amazing journey, and right now we have 4,000 active paying accounts, businesses and homes, meaning that there's about 20,000 people that have electricity 24/7, and they actually pay for this electricity. So it's not a donation, it's a value for value exchange. And the most amazing part of this whole journey has been the dedication of our team in Haiti to this cause and to this vision, and the extent to which people just took it upon themselves to push forward this vision, not just to benefit themselves, but to benefit their neighbors, to benefit the local clinic in town, to benefit their friends and families. And then we got our first 1,000 connections in one grid, and then we went to the next one, and our technicians moved over and began training new technicians, and it's been absolutely amazing to see this.
So what's your long-term goal? What's your vision with this?
I mean, ultimately, look, we do things because they make us feel a certain way. They either make us feel less guilty about our privilege, or they make us feel, it makes us feel good that we put a smile on somebody's face. But ultimately, every single decision that we make, is to a certain extent selfish. We are looking at ourselves when we make decisions, and whoever says they don't, it's BS. Because we are at the center of our own universes. And I take a great deal of joy and pleasure from number one, proving people wrong, and number two, building things that last. And if I can do that while proving people wrong,
Such a
I'm
good
happy.
feeling. Yeah, I was gonna say.
And so it happens that there are plenty of individuals to prove wrong that yes, you can build a sustainable electrification model for frontier markets. Yes, you can actually build a EBITDA positive business, which 2 of our grids already are EBITDA positive.
Wow.
In the poorest region of the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere.
That's insane.
A country that's ranked by the World Bank as number 187th easiest place to do business. Right, there's only 5 places that are harder to do business than in Haiti. And that doesn't say a lot about, like, I don't want to bash anybody or anything like that. It's all bureaucracy, it's procedures, and things are changing and they're getting better, but there's a long way to go.
Wow. So if you could give, and just to kind of wrap this podcast up, if you could give one piece of advice to an up-and-coming entrepreneur, or maybe somebody that's been kind of hesitant to say, yeah, I'm going to take the plunge and start and take action and do it. You know, like a lot of times I swear we have these big dreams, we have these goals or aspirations in life, and we find ourselves 5 years later doing the same stuff, right? So what piece of advice would you give that up-and-coming entrepreneur, now being what you've done and what you've been through? Like, what would you tell him?
Well, in the words of the great American philosopher Nike, just do it.
I love it.
So, just do it. Just do it. Just do it, and surround yourself with people that are better than you in every imaginable aspect. People that are smarter than you. People that are more skilled than you are. And do not be afraid to surround yourself with people that are better than you. And it's said so often that it's a cliche, and once things become a cliche, they lose meaning. I was like, oh, team is everything. I was like, team really is everything. Businesses, what's a business? It's a piece of paper that has legal backing. It's a certificate of incorporation, nothing more. It's people at the end of the day. People succeed, people fail. Businesses don't succeed and fail. It's people that succeed and fail. So, number one, get off your ass and do it. And number two, surround yourself with people that are better than you.
I love that. So if you're listening to this, I hope you take that to heart and reflect on that for a minute and just be like, one, who are the people that are surrounding me? Yeah. And two, really, am I just being lazy and scared? Is my own mental blocks stopping me from taking any action?
Well, look, and I'll shut up after this point.
I love it. No, I think we're all getting some gold from this.
Look, the reality is that people have different tolerances for risk throughout their lives. The best time to start a business is not when you have a mortgage and 4 children and 3 car payments and so on and so forth. That's not the best time to take a wild risk. The best time to take a wild risk is after you drop out of college, after you graduate high school, after you go out there and you work for a couple of years, you go travel the world, you go experience and discover yourself a little bit better and what makes you happy and what makes you tick. Don't wait for it.
Yeah.
It's I use this a lot with my team, and it's kind of become a little bit of a bizarre metaphor. Doritos on the chest. It's like, don't be that guy that is sitting in front of the TV 10 years from present and saying, "Oh, I had this idea." And then why didn't you do anything about it? You're sitting there with Doritos on your chest.
I love that.
Because you haven't taken action.
Don't be the guy with Doritos on your chest.
There never will be a perfect time. It will be always incredibly scary and terrifying, and but then at the end of the day, figure out what your product is, figure out where you're going, and treat your... These are the three pillars of business as I see them. It's your customers, your team, and your investors. You make sure all these three are taken care of, and nothing else really matters. All the rest is manageable. All of it is take care of your customers, take care of your team, take care of your investors.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, Andy, for being on the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
This was fun. Like, I think it's been fun kind of seeing Sigora on an intimate level. I've been able to work with you guys for the last few months, and it's been a pleasure to be able to just interview you now. But yeah, if you're listening to this, share this and like this, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks, Andy.
Thank you for having me, Sam. Thank you.